Hey guys, so welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at negotiations, which is the next step of the 7-step sourcing process. This is a really important stage because this is where all of your hard work, research, analysis, and all the supplier engagement is going to be coming into fruition based on your engagement and interactions with the supplier. The objective of this stage is to get a win-win-win outcome, and what that basically means is you want to get a win from your end, you want to get a win from the supplier's end, and overall you want to make sure the interaction is positive so that way the vendor will be willing to be a good partner. So with that, let's jump right in. All right, so this is the negotiation stage, the next step of the 7-step sourcing process. So the first thing we want to define is what are the goals or objectives of the stage. So that's what we're going to jump right in. So the primary goal or objective of the negotiation stage is to ensure that you can maximize the outcomes of a given proposal. So what you want to do is you want to structure your preparation and all the different elements in this stage to ensure that you can maximize the success of your negotiations. So what does that mean? There are three key aspects that I would say. The first aspect is the negotiation objective. Second aspect is the negotiation format and location. And the third aspect is the negotiation roles and rules. So let's jump right into the first rule, which is negotiation objective. So the negotiation objective is, in a way, kind of aligning what your team wants. This includes your stakeholders, including your procurement team, sourcing team, and so on. What do they want, and aligning all the wants and needs together to make sure that we can maximize the outcomes. So you're also identifying your wants and needs. So you want to differentiate what is something that you really want and something that you need as an organization. And you want to define goals. You want to have a target goal. You want to have an extended goal and also walkaway position. So in some cases that you might not get your target, but you got a walkaway, you meet your walkaway requirement, so you could actually leave that clause and move on to the next one. And you want to define each want and need. An example here is the termination clause, where the vendor proposed a 90-day termination for breach clause. However, you would like to implement a termination for convenience. You can first decide whether this is a want or a need, and if this is a need, then you need to make sure that you're calling that out as a clause in the whole process. So in continuation of that, how do you structure the different clauses so that you can actually have a cohesive negotiation or discussion? So you want to structure the wants and needs by the BAFO format, which we discussed in the last video. The BAFO stands for best and final offer. What it is simply is a structured table or grid that has the business clause, it has the definitions of each one of those clauses, it has the target goal for each clause, it has the walkaway position, and it's good to also call out what is proposed initially from the vendor, and then that way you can actually have the negotiation outcomes. So in this structure, what you can actually do is you can actually allow the vendor to focus on the things that you really want. So continuing with the different rules, the second rule here is the format and location. So what you want to ensure is that you want to ensure if you're going to conduct this negotiation in person, or is this going to be a video conference negotiation. In some cases, the negotiation could be a simple phone call as well. So depending upon the complexity and what all you would like to address, you need to understand what that format looks like. Once you've decided the format, which is if it's in person or if it's a video conference, then you need to define or decide whether you want to have the negotiation on site on your side or you want to go to the vendor site. So it's important to identify and get that ironed out as well, so that you're well organized, and you actually have the required people from the different organizations ready for the negotiation. And then we move on to the last rule, which is the negotiation roles and rules. So what you want to do in the roles and rules stage is to understand that you are representing your organization as one team. So to be able to do that is you need to first assign the different roles to the different folks that will be participating in the negotiation, as well as you want to have some ground rules as to how that negotiation is going to conduct in terms of how you want to communicate, how do you want to ask questions. If you have a doubt, how do you bring that up rather than leaving everything out open to the vendor and basically digressing the conversation. So general rule of thumb, you want to have a lead negotiator, you want to have a secondary negotiator, and then you have a negotiating technical subject matter expert. So the lead negotiator's role is to be the point of contact, the lead, that's the one that's driving it. The secondary negotiator will also help and step in, help guide the conversation going forward, because they help with the timekeeping. They can also help with elements of keeping notes and also kind of bringing out some data points if needed. And the negotiation technical SME or technical subject matter expert is your stakeholder. You would want to have them in this conversation so that they can actually help drive the technical aspects of the negotiation. When the conversation gets too technical, you want to make sure they're speaking for it. So you want to actually have them included in there. The next piece is the rules piece, is to ensure that, how are we being more organized about this. So you want to establish ground rules as to who speaks when, and how do you ask someone else to speak. So basically have structure for that. What information is okay to share, what is not okay to share, what information that you want to keep to yourself, and then if the SME wants to share something, then how do they notify you? How do they communicate to you? So this is exactly where the secondary negotiator comes into play, where they can help filter those conversations, those questions, and help the stakeholder bring that question across. So once you have your rules and roles, you've kind of pretty much have hit all the 3 different aspects or areas for the negotiation. So let's jump right into the summary. So the summary is that there are total 3 factors to keep in mind when you're conducting negotiations. The first one is the negotiation objective. Understand the goal of the negotiation, understand your wants and needs. The second aspect or factor is the preparation, format, and location. So you want to make sure that you review each side's objectives. You're looking at where the negotiation is going to be conducted, and you're organizing the BAFO format so that way you can actually decide the location and make sure that you can actually share that in the right way. And the last piece is the negotiation rules and roles. I actually have it as a typo here, but the idea is that you want to ensure that you lay the ground rules before going into the negotiation, as to who's going to speak, who's going to be the lead, who's going to be the secondary negotiator, who's going to be a technical subject matter expert, as well as how the information can be shared. So that is basically the quick summary of the negotiation stage in the 7-step sourcing process. All right, guys, so that was today's video, negotiations, the next step of the 7-step sourcing process. I hope you kind of get a quick understanding or grasp of what all is involved in this stage. I can definitely do a more in-depth video about negotiations on its own, but I think for the purpose of this flow here, I think you've done enough research up front that allows you to structure your negotiation stage in this way. So if you like the content, please leave a comment below. Please like the video, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.